Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Sword Art Online Alicization review. This one's going to be for episode 17, which is called Truce. And based on how the last episode ended, we knew this was going to be a very kind of character-driven episode of mainly Kirito and Alice getting to see them interact and, form this truce here and realize that, mainly from Alice to Kirito, that, he's not bad. He's not a criminal as such in the same way that you would expect. It's really opening Alice's eyes to, a lot of the issues that she's beginning to see, that one, Kirito isn't the criminal she thought he was, and then I suppose the bigger reveal that on the outside of the tower there's these Dark Territory minions and they shouldn't be there that high up when Integrity Knight dragons, general birds aren't even allowed up there, yet there are Dark Territory enemies up there. So, she immediately has all of these kind of problems, and that combined with, I suppose, Kirito making it clear his perspective that he's not here to kill Integrity Knights. He's not here to really destroy the system completely. He just doesn't believe that the administrator is kind of doing things, in the correct way. Obviously, the whole idea of all of the power of the world basically being contained within the administrator and the Integrity Knights, he sees a problem in that with what it takes away from everyone else and the lack of freedom they get because of that. So, his issues, of course, are more with the system, and also, here he can't directly say that, the reason I can't, kill you, I can't just drop you, is also because we're here to save you. He still, I suppose, has to find the correct way to go about, breaking Alice free of the, Integrity Knight programming. But also we do know that they are missing a piece of their kind of memories, so, it's still not the complete Alice that they have here. So, there's some interesting stuff going on here. But I think definitely the highlight of the episode, of course, is just the interaction. Seeing Alice begin to sort of open up in a way, but still try and maintain the high position that she has and not just be completely, criticized by Kirito, basically. And obviously the key part in that was him calling her an idiot like 8 times at the start, and her ultimately accepting that, like, okay, I get that, you didn't need to say it 8 times, but, and just her kind of being stubborn in not wanting to fully, embrace kind of what Kirito's going for here. But that plus, I suppose, the fact that she's not particularly good in such an unusual situation, in that she just has no idea about how to get out of what situation they're in, whereas Kirito comes up with the idea to make the spikes, drive them into the wall, and use some acrobatics to go further up and just keep doing that. And that's sort of a shocking moment to her in a way, in that she kind of doesn't have that ability to just like act on the fly like that and be so intuitive and come up with a clever idea to it. So there's very much the case of, they form this kind of bond of trust just because he saves her from the initial fall, and in him trying to get her further up, he falls and she has to save him, and so they end up working together here just to get back to safety, with the idea that Alice is keeping up the pretense the whole time of, the second we get onto like normal ground, I'm going to slay you. So and then in the end, there's a connection beginning to form here, of course, because when they get onto that ledge, she doesn't immediately go to take him out, and she has the, the typical reaction to sort of Kirito's antics of like him throwing her up onto the ledge and then her smashing him up onto the ledge as well, and her just being upset at how kind of rude in a way kind of Kirito is, but Kirito is just doing what he can to make it happen, basically. And yeah, we only got like a brief battle here between like Alice and Kirito versus a couple of those kind of minion monsters. She just takes 2 of them out immediately in one shot. Kirito kind of breaks through a little bit, creates a little bit of separation, then uses a sword skill. With Kirito, it was definitely more of a case of just not having a lot of space. He had to create the space to use the sword skill, but Alice seems intrigued and impressed by just the way with the sword skills work. And again, she sort of jokes about it a little bit. And then the one hint about something beginning to change, her maybe beginning to like realize something's up just with who she is her mentioning like, oh yeah, I've been to that festival. What? Wait, Kirito points out like, yeah, the Integrity Knights don't do that sort of thing. How would you know about the festival? And her really figuring out herself that like, wait, actually, I haven't, but I just said that I was there myself. So that's an interesting point to kind of get into play as well, and just keep up the idea of like, so where are things going from here? That obviously inside the castle, Yu-Gi-Oh is going up. He arrives at floor 90, goes into the baths, and he's about to fight the commander. He's about to fight Bercoli Synthesis 1. We see that in the opening. And we're about to see that happen. So he is the commander of the Integrity Knights. Yu-Gi-Oh is on his own, pretty much fighting for the first time, which he points out that Kirito's been with him their entire journey. It's this important kind of connection he has. Kirito has been the person who's kind of driven him to get to this point. Now he's not here, and he's going into the most kind of intense battle yet. How is Yu-Gi-Oh going to react in this situation, given that his kind of inexperience compared to Kirito is shown a few times before now? How's he going to work against arguably the most powerful kind of character we've seen so far? So that's a great setup for Yu-Gi-Oh that just we're about to get into that battle. And then on the outside, we're just kind of left with this interesting situation of where they're in somewhat safety. Alice is beginning to very much question a lot of what's going on. Kirito still has to sort of be on guard because she still is being the Integrity Knight. She still is sort of treating him like the second we get to somewhere safe, I'll fulfill my duty and kind of kill you as soon as possible. So obviously the fact that there is a fight inside going on, and they're getting closer and closer to the top, things are going to change by the time Alice and Kirito get back inside, and those changes are really going to affect, I suppose, what goes on afterwards. So it's a fairly to the point episode, and I don't think there's as much to discuss because most of the episode was pretty much Kirito and Alice just talking on the outside, and I thought they did a really good job animating the kind of more complicated motions of like Kirito doing a full like gymnastics trick to get on top of the spike each time, then throwing each other up the sides of the cathedral and so on. That was all, I think, really, really nicely done. And then I thought the other thing to get right here was also, I suppose, Alice's face, and just kind of show the kind of turning from kind of harsh Integrity Knight to kind of being embarrassed at being somewhat shown up by Kirito in some of these situations. So she's beginning to, I suppose, gain a respect for him in the same way that kind of Kirito just in general has a respect for the knights for their skills, and is less thinking of him as a criminal and more, I want to fight him again just to see how kind of close in power we are. Just based off what we see here, Alice seems to just in general be the stronger in terms of raw strength, but that's not always the sole factor in a fight. So there's still much more to come on that front. But yeah, beyond that, I thought it was just a good episode to move from just we're fighting with Alice to now Alice is in this unique position where she's kind of in between, in that she's beginning to gain a trust with Kirito and beginning to gain a distrust of just the system, basically. So what's going to happen when she has to go back inside is the big thing going forward. But I thought they did a great job at this. This was one of the more fun parts of the light novels to read, and I thought this adaptation here in the anime was really, really well done. So definitely a very, very enjoyable episode, and I'm just as excited next week for the stuff with like Kirito and Alice outside the walls as I am for the fight. So I think they're in a very good spot here where none of the plots feel like they're side plots or anything like that, and both are just as interesting. Big fight plus the character development stuff on the outside. And then we did get one scene back on the ocean turtle in real life with Asuna, they see a military ship kind of sort of moving oddly, and then they kind of end up alerting one of the kind of guys in charge, and he calls Kikuoka and is like, wait, our support ship, why is it going away? It's meant to be here until tomorrow at this time. So they're just setting up that something's happening on the Ocean Turtle. It looks like there's some odd stuff going on in around it, like they've kind of been discovered, potentially found out. What's going to happen there? And that's going to be an important plot point coming up. And I like that there is this scene here to just kind of remind you that they are building to something when it comes to that side of the story as well. Let's not forget that, we're so kind of focused inside the game, inside Underworld, that let's not forget that Kirito is still recovering in the machine in the real world, and Asuna's there, and it's this whole military kind of program is the basis behind all of it. So that was good to kind of remind everyone of that. But that's my thoughts on this episode. Very positive, but in the comments let me know what your thoughts were on this episode. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.